Greetings, villains, vigilantes, heroes, and heroines.
You're tuned in to Project SuperVillain. We're your hosts. I'm ArcDrifter.
I'm Killboss.
Back with another top 5. That's the top 5 for October. So we got more games, and this is actually where it starts to get really, really busy, guys. We've got some really good releases coming up, and honestly, it was a really tough choice to narrow it down to 5 at this point, because there were many. We were considering doing a top 10, but we ended up cutting a good chunk of them out. We're going to try and keep these the top 5 for consistency's sake.
So don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, but we're not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get into it right now.
Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy.
So, October 26th is the date we get to see the Guardians make their video game debut, I guess. I mean, not necessarily. They've been in other games before, but this is their first standalone game. It's coming to PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, and PS5, as well as the Nintendo Switch. It's going to be developed by Eidos Montreal and published by Square Enix.
Eidos Montreal is a wonderful developer. I've liked a lot of the stuff that they put out. I'm hoping this time they give us something on par with their usual products.
I'm looking forward to it too, and if these guys take any notes out of, Spider-Man's books, Insomniac's books, then they'll do a good job of this. If they take any notes out of Square Enix's books, which, they're working with them.
Different fucking story, man.
We might have a problem here, so we gotta look at this and hope for the best. It looks like it's a different kind of deal than the Avengers game. This actually looks like it might be a complete game. Believe it or not.
I hope it is, man, because seriously, that Marvel's Avengers game was a travesty. That should have been awesome.
Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah, I heard that you wanted a per character season pass.
Oh, you know what? That's exactly what I didn't want.
Now give me your wallet.
I said no.
Give me your fucking wallet!
Okay. Control the fun, ever-loving group as Star-Lord. Unfortunately, you don't get to play as the other characters. I thought that was a little weird.
That is strange.
You only get to play as Star-Lord. It is a third-person action adventure game with lots of shooting in it. Obviously, you have guns, you have jet boots, and there is beat 'em up in this, so if you get close to enemies, you're just going to whack them with your gun. You're not going to sit there and just try to shoot them in the face. It's also going to involve a lot of strategy in the game, and as well, it's going to have a heavy narrative.
So while you do not get to play as any of the other characters on the team, because you are Star-Lord, you are the leader, so that means you get to command all the other teammates. And similar to the Marvel's Ultimate Alliance games, you can string different attacks into devastating combinations between the characters, which is fucking cool because those were just heavy damage ultimate attacks. Oh man, that was so awesome.
Yeah, and you know what? It's going to look a lot better in this game as opposed to Ultimate Alliance. That was a game that only came out on the Nintendo Switch, guys. It was limited in its graphical intensity. This game is going to be on all the bigger platforms, and so we're going to get to see some really cool animations and stuff, and explosions, and just all these combos stringing together. I think it'll be really fun and eye-dazzling experience. I don't really have a better word for it.
I feel like they're going to take advantage of the hardware for sure.
Each teammate has different strengths, and actually enemies have different elemental weaknesses, so depending on which teammate's ability you're using, it's going to work better on certain enemies. And that actually ties in with the stagger meter that there is in the game too, because if you're using certain strengths against enemies, they'll stagger faster and you can kill them easier. So this is the kind of game you're dealing with, guys. It's kind of, it's very RPG-like, but also has those beat-em-up mechanics and shooting in it as well. And all this ties together, and you eventually get upgrades, and you can actually make your character stronger in certain ways, so you can build your team how you like.
Going hand in hand with that is the choice-making mechanics. You are going to be expected to make some decisions, on the plots and your relationships with other characters, that sort of thing. We've seen it in a ton of different games before.
Mass Effect.
And it will, yeah, exactly. It's going to have, hopefully, that same level of impact on the rest of the game and your playthrough, so you might even get some replayability out of that right there.
Yeah.
And you can also explore your ship in between missions and chat with the crew and build relationships with them. So that's another part of the game that we're really looking forward to outside of the main gameplay. It'll be nice to get some backstories and kind of bond with these characters.
Yeah, and something I've watched in many of the trailers that I've taken in is, and something that everybody seems to have noted, is that the hilarious and endless banter is there. Something that you would expect out of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They never shut up, but in a good way. This is something, it's not going to be annoying, apparently in Avengers, where everybody was just quipping all the time. This is just actual conversation, and these guys are hilarious. I'm looking forward to seeing what the comedy side of things are like in this game. Honestly, it's going to be a game to look forward to, guys. But let's move on to our next one.
Okay, sounds good. Number 4, Far Cry 6. So this one's coming out a little bit earlier in the month. On October 7th, we are going to see the release of Far Cry 6. That one's coming out for PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, and PS5. Pretty much all the major platforms except for the Nintendo Switch. Developed and published by Ubisoft, obviously, but specifically developed by Ubisoft Toronto. Those are the guys in charge of this one.
Our neighbors.
Yes, our neighbors. They're just down the street from us, I promise. So, like pretty much every other entry in the series, this one's going to be fucking first-person shooter. Just wanted to give you a minute to guess in case you didn't know. So that's going to be a first-person shooter, obviously heavy narrative focus like the previous games in the series. We'll be offering online 2-player co-op, allowing you to bring a friend through the full story. So that's really cool that you get to do the full story in a co-op campaign. Exactly, right? Which we are probably going to do.
We should probably do that.
Yes.
Speaking of companionship, you also get animal companions. So if you're going through as 2 players, you're going to each have your own pet. There's dogs, roosters, apparently there's crocodiles even.
Shit, I can play with an animal companion?
Yeah, dude,
I
you
don't
don't
want to
need
play
me.
with you anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
If you've ever seen any of the animations for them too, if you check out a trailer or something, you'll see that they're incredibly cute, especially the dogs. There's a pre-order bonus, of course, where you can get a disabled dog if you want. It has no back legs, so it has like a troll.
That's actually adorable.
It is. It's fucking so adorable. And so, as per Far Cry tradition, it's going to have a large, highly detailed map. But continuing forward as well, we've also got plenty of vehicles for travel and plenty of weapons featuring generic and exotic types. I've seen like a CD gun in this game where someone like put together a bunch of junk and like shot CDs at people. So that's just an example of some of like junk weapons that you can make in the game.
That's what we orcs do. Makes his weapons out of junk, and as long as me believes hard enough, it's gonna shoot.
The story is based around you playing as someone who's essentially in poverty in a tyrannical dictatorship. I'm sure you've all seen the previews. Giancarlo over there doing his dictatorship stuff, being evil and all that good stuff, you know, throwing people off cliffs and all that.
Just
You
being
can
a
see it.
villain.
Just he looks like he's a very impactful villain, and I'm scared of him already.
So this was the one that was kind of like a major shakeup in our eyes. They are going to be changing the formula quite a bit this time around by ditching the skill tree system that we have all become used to in the past few entries. They're going to be ditching that system in favor of a gear system that offers levels and stat boosts with that. There's going to be loads of customization involved with that as well. I'm assuming just beyond swapping different pieces, you might be able to change camos or color patterns and that sort of thing. Apparently that'll be the same thing for the weapons. It's just going to go hard into a gear system this time, which I think is a welcome change. I wanted to see it play a little bit differently than the last ones to spice it up. So this will be cool to see how that works out.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. Let's move on to the next one.
Number 3, Metroid Dread.
This one literally comes out the day after Far Cry 6. This is Metroid Dread. This is another one that both of us are super looking forward to. I, in particular, am a huge Metroid fan, and this is the direct sequel to Metroid Fusion. So I am looking forward to see how the story continues from beyond there, because I played Metroid Fusion as a kid, and I fucking loved it. That was some good shit right there.
And obviously, it's coming out only on the Switch. It's going to be developed and published by Nintendo. It's actually also developed by Mercury Steam, another developer there. And if anybody's played Metroid before, you're going to get exactly what you want. It's the same thing with spiced up mechanics, a lot more fluid, obviously, than previous entries. We've got like typical shooting, platforming. You got melee counters in this. There's all sorts of niche traversal techniques, like wall jumping, of course, but like swinging and grappling and all that kind of stuff that you'd expect to see is returning. And it obviously combines the shooting elements and the platforming nicely, as any Metroid would do. If you see the trailers, you know what to expect. It looks good. It's probably gonna be good.
You like have to jump and shoot Metroid. You got to learn that, or you're gonna die pretty fast. So with all of those things to consider, plus its modern twist, it will still feel like a return to form for the classic Metroid fans. Anybody that's a fan of those older games, you're going to get the same feeling here, just with a lot of modern quality of life things done to it to make it feel, more up to date. And just like in Fusion before it, you will be trying to avoid an invincible assailant, which I think is the thing where the dread comes into play. That's going to be the horror aspect of it. So if you remember Fusion, you're going to be going through some similar PTSD in this one.
Just more Metroid. You know what to expect, guys. Let's move on.
Number 2, Back for Blood.
This is also like really close in release date to the other ones.
Yeah.
This one's on October 12th. So Back for Blood is coming out for PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4 and PS5, and the classic studio that developed the original Left 4 Dead games is returning to make this one. That's Turtle Rock Studios, but they've got a new publisher this time. It's not Valve, it's Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. So
they saw like Left 4 Dead success, and like, hey, if you guys make the game for us, we'd be okay with that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, it's the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. I mean, we're going to be getting a very similar package to that, but of course it is going to be a modernized take on that formula with some new features. I mean, one of the ones that comes to mind immediately is aiming down sights with the ADS mechanic.
Yeah,
that's,
oh my God.
That's pretty cool.
I forgot that wasn't even a thing in the
no,
old one.
it
Like,
wasn't.
It's just like, aside from the scoped weapons, but yeah, that's just wild. Then, like, of course, more first-person shooter. It's co-op, but the sad thing is it's not split screen. So if you're looking forward to playing it on the same screen, it's
can't do that.
Nope. It's 4-player online co-op. So you can group up with your friends online, as you probably were expecting to do anyways.
There is crossplay.
Yeah, and there's crossplay, which is it's great to see more of that in more modern games. So if you got an Xbox and your friends playing on a PlayStation, you guys are able to play together.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Xbox, it's going to be on Game Pass day one there too. So if you got Game Pass, it's going to be a good day to have it around when that comes
Instant
out.
access.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a lot of the new things that they have added, one of the most obvious things beyond like some of the features in the combat is the remixed Special Infected, which definitely pay homage to the OGs from the previous games. But it seems like a lot of the Special Infected from that game have been combined into a new form basically. So you'll be fighting a Special Infected that has the powers of two of them at the same time. So that I thought was a cool idea. A lot of them look more menacing and terrifying, so I'm down for that. And you will even get to play as these Special Infected if you choose to play the Versus mode. So it's called Swarm, and it's kind of like their take on a survival mode. Humans versus infected teams. We don't know a whole shit ton about that right now, but of course we're trying to not spoil it all for ourselves. We're going to be playing this, so we will find out all the details when that happens.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we do know a little bit about it. The Swarm mode does feature upgrade mechanics for the infected players, so it does make it more. This is how the difficulty ramps up. It's a survival mode, right? So if you're playing as the cleaners, aka the survivors, you're going to just be surviving, and there's a circle that closes in over time. So it's kind of like a battle royale formula, and so eventually it's going to get smaller and smaller, and you're going to have less room to work with. And so in that case, it's just going to get harder and harder. But what makes it even more difficult is the upgrades I just mentioned. The enemy team, the infected players, get to mutate over time, and so they become stronger and stronger throughout the game. And that's just an added, really cool thing that they've put in the game. I think it's awesome. Since Swarm mode looks really fun.
Yep, and then on top of that too, these multiplayer modes are kind of their own self-contained modes, so the progression that you do in the campaign won't carry over to multiplayer and vice versa, but that's okay. I feel like it's okay to be that way, to have them two separately contained things. Maybe there are certain differences that make it so that it's actually not stale to go through the progression twice.
Yeah.
Hoping so.
And then, you know what, it would be nice to see the Versus co-op campaign come back, where you could actually go through the story and have people play as the infected.
Yes.
They chose not to put that in this time so far. I don't know if they're going to add that in later or if they're just not going to, but
I hope so.
it's kind of unfortunate to see, but it's something definitely worth reporting to you guys. But that being said, that's pretty much all we've got for Back 4 Blood. If you need to see more, just check out the trailers. There's plenty, and there's a beta gameplay release. Plenty of maps and stuff already coming out. We don't know much more about how much for campaign, but we'll find out again as it just looks fucking cool, laddie!
Wahoo! It's a time for an honorable mention. Mario Party Superstars! Yahoo! You guys want to talk about my movie too? How about we talk about my movie?
talk about me move?
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, me King
Get
Kong.
the fuck out
No,
of here!
this
Hey
is
man,
buddy
I'm
me
gonna
King
beat the
Kong.
shit out of you! What the fuck?
Mario Party Superstars! Yahoo!
Yahoo.
Yahoo. It's published by Nintendo. It's developed by actually ND Cube, and it's obviously going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch exclusively. Now, this is going to be a remaster, pretty much, of the previous renditions of Mario Party. Now, if you've played on the N64 specifically, you're going to be really happy, because this is pretty well bringing back a lot of the maps from there. So they've confirmed 5 remade boards are coming back already. We got Spaceland, Peach's B-Day Cake, Woody Woods, Yoshi's Tropical Island, and Horrorland. And that's just for the boards. There's going to be 100 minigames as well.
Yeah, that's right. 100 mini games, 100 remade mini games, and all of them are basically ones that have been taken from all the titles from Mario Party 1 to 10 have been remade for this new release, combined together. That sounds like a great time, and you will certainly not be starved for variety with 100 games to play. The online multiplayer, it will also be available at launch, as you hope it would be. I mean, I would hope it would be available at launch, but that's going to be for both the mini-game modes and the full Mario Party mode, so you are going to have access to both of those at launch, which apparently hasn't been a thing before.
Yeah,
I don't know why,
they
but...
took forever in Mario Party to get the full Mario Party mode available for people to play. And for some reason, it was only mini games for like 3 years, I'm pretty sure.
And there's no excuse for that because you're fucking Nintendo.
It's Mario Party!
We know how deep your pockets are.
We want to play the actual mode, guys. Like, come on. Anyways, they actually have that available in this game on launch, so that's great news. And it's just more Mario Party, guys, with more characters, and I think Birdo's in it.
That's
Birdo fans rejoice.
Yeah,
Who's a Birdo fan?
chicken nuggets.
Number 1. The Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes.
Yes! Let's go. It's
Like-
Halloween time. That means it's time for more supermassive games. These guys do a yearly release at this point. Last year it was the Dark Pictures Anthology Little Hope. The year before that, Man of Medan, and I don't even know if it was the year before that, but it was a couple years before that they did Until Dawn, which is not part of the series. But either way, all of these games are amazing. Go try those other ones if you haven't done that yet. But this game is going to be coming out on the PC, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X, and the PS4 and 5 as well. So it's just more Dark Pictures, guys. If you guys like interactive horror movies, this is for you.
This is literally at the next installment in the famed anthology. One of the cool things that they've managed to do to switch things up here is that the game camera is no longer fixed and it seems to be more player controlled than before. However, I've noticed that it still keeps those nice cinematic angles that keep you guessing and wondering what's going to be around the corner. And they definitely can get a little claustrophobic at times, but again, that just plays into the way that this is shot like a horror movie, and it feels great to feel like you actually have some sense of agency in those movies. Because, like, I tell you what, don't you ever watch a horror movie and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Well, in this game, you get to decide, so, yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's if you haven't played a Dark Pictures game, these games are just about keeping your team alive. It's a team of 5. In fact, you get to play 5 players. It's not all at the same time, but you swap controller whenever it's your turn. And yeah, your entire goal is to keep these people alive throughout the entire story, through quick time events and decision making. And that can go wrong really, really quickly.
So, contrary to a lot of the previous games where you are just playing as civilian characters, this time you are playing as armed and trained military people, so that is interesting to see how that's going to pan out. I want to say that there might be a little bit more combat in this one than before, and you might be more effective at defending yourself, so that would be cool, because I always like seeing how they do it in horror movies when they pit an actually trained force against these things rather than frantic flailing people who are just panicking. I'd really like to see them put people who can handle pressure into the shoes of the main characters so that we can see, you know, how they're going to handle the situation. But because it's a video game, it all depends on you. So.
And that also ties into our next point, which is how this game is kind of similar to The Descent, and specifically The Hills Have Eyes 2, which it features soldiers that get fucked up.
Exactly, like, yeah, investigating
So-
some weird occurrence and then they all get fucked up. So that's what we're gonna see here, and you'll see once you watch trailers and stuff, you'll get the vibes right away. Definitely taking after 2 very good horror inspirations for this game. So that'll be really fun to play with your friends. Again, 5-player couch co-op, 2-player online co-op. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, and that is weird, but I guess the one thing I want to make sure to state is that the other games we played are fantastic. They're very fun, and they're pretty well unique to their own genre. Not many games do you find that are QuickTime event based that are of this quality, honestly, these days. And this is a really good one, and I hope to see more from them in the future, of course. This is going to be good. You guys better tune in to watch this one.
Oh, we're playing it.
But that brings us to the
Whoa,
end.
what day is it coming out?
October 22nd. So that's actually it for the games we have this time. Like I said, there were plenty more out there for games that are awesome.
We can't do them all. We had to pick the best ones.
Yeah, if you want to show some support, if you like what we're trying to do here, make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe to us. So that way you can see us again in the future. We do this kind of stuff all the time. Every month, in fact, we do a top 5, but we do other things too. We got top 10s, we got game reviews, we got EDM music all over the place on our channel. It's a fun time.
That's definitely a big time variety channel, so you want to make sure that you catch all that awesome content, and go and check out our other links to all of our other social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Reddit. Go have a look at those, and we do stream on Twitch every Friday and Saturday in the evenings around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, so go ahead and check that out, guys. But we hope to see you there, but we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching.
Project dismissed.
Peach
Peach
out.
out.